Alright guys, today we're going to start the cold air intake kit for the Stealth Ram Firebird. We've got some parts from silicone intakes here that are ready to go. Got some other stuff over here, and hopefully we can piece something together and upgrade from the heater hose intake that I'll insert here. So here's the remnants of the old filter. Yeah, bad run-in with the belt, and then I think it got sucked into the fan because there's a little guard on the fan, but still. I'm going to reuse, I don't think I'm going to reuse this coupler, but I'm at least going to reuse this filter, unless I need a reducer, because that almost looks like there's a reducer there. I'm not sure. And, you know, just a temporary thing. This is a junk Spectre filter, I think, or chromeintakes.com. Yeah, I think that was off of eBay or something, but, yeah. So everyone will tell you that the Stealth Ram will fit in a Firebird if you clearance the hood, like I did up here, which is true, but finding a cold air intake that fits, especially if it was a throttle body car like mine was, is a pain in the ass because the batteries are on opposite sides on the tune port and throttle body cars. So you have to come up with something that isn't going to rub the hood the whole time or get, you know, tied up in the belt or hit the water pump, or I have a electronic fan here, you know, the fan gets in the way as well. So while trying to retain the stock configuration, I'm going to try to piece an intake together. Now to start, if you guys didn't know this, the TPI throttle bodies are oval, but you can use a 4-inch round coupler rather than a cheap oval coupler and get the same clamping force. And I actually think these work a little better because they're definitely tighter than the oval ones are. Alright guys, so here we got the first part of the intake. Took 180, cut it about 3/4 of the way around to get the drop to follow the fender line, and then down below here, you can see it's not into the water pump, and over here, hopefully you can see it's also not hitting my fan. So it's a good start. Hard part's going to be over here with the power steering line and this radiator hose. I mean, we can kind of snake it through this gap here. Hopefully I have a couple more bends we can use, but we also don't want the couplers to be back, you know, in the alternator or in the power steering pump. And again, we got to worry about these lines because this here is only 2-3 inches. Definitely not enough for what we need to do. Like I was worried about. If you look, this piece is about the right length to get over here. But if you try to run it through here, power steering line is 100% in the way. And finally snake it through, it's going to come in at like a 45, which should be okay because I have a 45. So we're going to try a smaller piece and see what happens. Alright, so I went ahead and checked for hood clearance with that elbow mounted up and the coupler fastened to the throttle body, and as you can see, it definitely hits, which is okay. Like I'm fine with it hitting the hood, but the problem with it hitting the hood was it's hard to say from the amount of travel, but I think it definitely is going to hit the belt with the hood shut or the water pump. It's kind of, right now it's hitting both. So I might try to cut this bend and bring this up here more, or maybe see if I can do something with that 45 I had, even though I wanted to use that here. But I think if I use the 45 there, I can salvage something out of the 180 I have and try to get that bend in here with the 180, and it should be okay. Alright, so I went ahead, I clamped all that, like I said earlier. I put the 90 on the end of that 90, so a 90-degree connector. There's like a 6-inch straight in there. And then I have this long 45 going into a straight coupler to hopefully put the filter here. Charcoal canister's in the way for the filter I have now, but we're going to try to figure this out. So the solution I came up with for the water pump thing, like you see, it can't move. It's really up against this power steering line, so I might want to do something about that. But I moved it as close as I could get it to the fan. Like I said, I didn't really think about it, but the fan does have a guard. The blade isn't exposed. So I would rather be closer to that than to the belt and the water pump. You know, I do have 3 fans on this car. So if something were to happen to this puller fan on the front, there are still the 2 pusher fans behind it. So it, you know, that's better than throwing a belt on a trip or something to that effect. And not only that, when the hood hits the elbow, it's going to push the whole intake down towards the water pump. But as it comes from the water pump, it's also going to come away from the fan. And I did another check on, you know, how close is this connector to the water pump, and you know, it has almost an inch. It's almost an inch before it hits the pulley, which I think should be ample space. There might be 3/4 of an inch there. Like, I can get my fingers in pretty easily, and I'm not expecting that to move a whole lot. So we're gonna go from there. All right, guys, it's all together. I need to get some more clamps just to finalize it, but most of this tubing's bead rolled, so I don't really even know if I need the clamps, but extra insurance, you know. But it's all together. Hood closes. This is a little higher than I wanted, and it's hitting this charcoal canister, and I would love to delete it, but I can't where I live. I went through and filed everything where I made cuts, make sure all the burrs were gone. It's definitely close to the fan, but it should be manageable. This came out a little weirder than I wanted, but it's not pushing up too hard against the power steering hose, and you know, it's up against the radiator just a little bit, but it's on the plastic housing. It shouldn't cause any problems. It might just get a little warm. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video here. You know, it's done. It's kind of how I want it. I'm gonna have to get some clamps just to, you know, finalize it a little bit and be good to go. But I wish I knew, like 6 years ago when I did this engine and picked this intake, that it was much harder on TBI cars. And I think that's kind of the thing about forums is, you know, you'll see, yeah, the stealth ram works on a Firebird if you notch your hood, which is true, but it doesn't tell you anything about how much of a pain in the ass it is to get an intake to fit, or that when you have to run it this way, it's a little more complicated than going that way, or the people that do go this way aren't emissions compliant, and you know, they don't have a charcoal canister in the way, so they have all this extra room, or they went to a manual steering setup and that gave them extra room, or they relocated the battery to the trunk. You know, that's the stuff you don't see. You just see, yeah, it fits, and you see a lot of people, you know, regurgitate, yeah, it fits, yeah, it fits, yeah, it fits, but you never see, you know, what did people actually do, or how did they fix it, or anything like that. You know, the 3-inch intake setup I had at the time was cost effective, and it was made out of dryer hose, which is why it was so cost effective. But I mean, I got it at AutoZone, so it was some kind of automotive grade something, but it was soft, so I could run it across this and tilt the filter down, and you know, if it hit the hood, which I think it did, it was soft and malleable, and it didn't matter. Where this is aluminum, and you know, that's going to cause issues. And you know, realistically, it'd be so much easier on a Camaro, because you know, if I had to set up like this car over here, where the, you know, the tune port's perfect because you can keep your hood insulation, and then the Camaros draw air from here. It would be so much easier just to run a single pipe like that, or if you had a ram air setup or something on a car like this, you know, again, plumbing it would be easy. Not that this was hard, but it was definitely a little more expensive than you'd anticipate, especially in comparison to the factory TPI intakes that are really good. You know, they have an actual air box and everything. But I might look into a smaller filter for this. Cruise control is probably going to get deleted. I might do another video on that, and maybe it'll sit lower and I could build a little heat shield around it. I'm going to go to a smaller washer bottle anyway, so it'll really open up my options for heat shield reasons. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to try to keep this this build going. The track opens this Wednesday. I'd really like to be out there with it, but who knows? We've got lots of parts to install in this car, including some new wheels and tires. You know, the C6Zs are a little tired, but we'll see.